Hello, empowered empaths, and welcome to the Power of Healing Your Energy show. I'm Christine Gold, and I'm a spiritual medium, intuitive energy coach, and old soul healer. This is a live show and podcast all about unconditional love, your light, your intuition, and your soul's purpose. Episode 89 is all about healing the mother wound, and our special guest is Kerri Hummingbird. She is a soul guide and author, host of the Soul Nectar Show, and an international best-selling author with several books. But really, we're going to talk about making peace with our relationship with oneness and the earth and the collective consciousness. Depression and anxiety are a side effect of not living your life intuitively, not trusting your gut, the lost connections with yourself and others. And I truly believe healing is the end of conflict within yourself, and that healing begins where the ego ends. Replays can be found on my Facebook and YouTube pages. Please like, please subscribe, please share, please follow, and please rate and review wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is episode 89, and it is also, I'm going to recognize this is Orange Shirt Day. And we all know tomorrow is, truth and reconciliation as well. I mean, I feel very, very strongly about it as well. It is September 29th, 2021, Mercury retrograde and 6 other planets, just so you're aware. If anybody's interested, maybe what's going on, what they're feeling, maybe, okay, that makes sense. Anyways, as well, I have a lovely guest, Kerri Hummingbird, and we're going to be talking about healing the mother wound. And I also want to recognize today has been 5 months since my mom has passed. 5 months today. So I know my mom is everywhere, and in fact, I see hummingbirds all the time. I seen a few yesterday, so love you, Mom, and to anyone else that has lost someone, we honor and we see you as well. So thank you. All right, enough about me. I'm going to bring on our guest, Kerri. Hello, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Christine. It's so great to be here with you and to share this conversation on such an auspicious day of planetary alignment.
Yeah, lots of things are auspicious, right? Right. So, I mean, a little bit about you. I could go on and on. I put everything in the bio, but, and you've written quite a few books as well. So maybe just let people know just a little bit about you and what's your why? Like, why did you start?
So I call myself a soul guide, as I like that word, soul guide. It's just a guide, a mentor, a friend to hold someone's hand on the journey of discovery. And I've written a bunch of books. I'm also a messenger. So my first book was Awakening to Me. That was written during the course of my own awakening process, which was messy and beautiful. And then the next book I wrote in 2019 was The Second Wave, Transcending the Human Drama. That one's been on the charts for about 111 weeks. A lot of people seem to be getting value from that book simply because it's got some messages, maybe explain some of the why, which I know that you talk about because we've shared conversation on my show.
Yes.
Soul Nectar Show. And so that book is really helpful for anyone who feels like they're a light worker. They've been here for healing. And the Love is Fierce is the book we're talking about tonight. Love is Fierce, Healing the Mother Wound. And why did I start doing the work I was doing initially? It says, the dark pit of despair of feeling lost in my shadows and in my personality and who am I and what am I here for? That's definitely been part of my path, is figuring out how I can be a human being, a really good human being. And so that I started the journey I was in the journey my whole life to figure that out. I just was using different modalities, psychotherapy and things like that, which was what was offered to me as a solution, and pharmaceutical drugs, which are offered as a solution. And when I got through the end of the rope on those, I thought, well, that didn't fix anything. It didn't actually help me to heal. It didn't bring me the inner understanding that I needed to move forward.
Mm.
So this path of healing opened up in my dark night of the soul after all of that. And after fleeing the ship of the Titanic of my marriage, and like, okay, I'm getting out of here. I left everything but my kids, and I just said, okay, I'm going to start over, and I don't know what it looks like. And in that spaciousness is what came my purpose. So that's a long story short, but that's the gist of it. And I think, what I would just say one more thing about that is what I've realized is our whole life journey is the healing. So even though I only woke up to being a healer at 40 something, I was doing that work the whole time. I just didn't know it.
Yeah, we have a lot in common. A very similar story, maybe different ways of getting there, but yeah, absolutely. And when you're talking about psychotherapy and medication, I mean, I'm not, saying that don't take that. It just for me and maybe for you, those were band-aids. They were temporary, just like our ascension process. I mean, you can only keep learning the same thing. You're like, okay, nothing's happening. I need to look at something else. I need to explore further, right? So no growth will happen.
Exactly. I mean, we learned a lot, though. I learned a lot from psychotherapy. I learned how to navigate my mind. I learned about what was happening, the thought tunnels and that kind of thing. But there's so much more, to explore beyond that straight talk therapy model.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to recognize someone on YouTube. Goodbye, Hope says hello. You're definitely a new friend of the 24 Karat Healing family. Thank you so much for being here. And we always recognize anyone who's here live and on the replay. So please say hello. If you have any questions during or even after, please ask. And, we're not going to leave you hanging because I know that there's a lot of questions. I mean, you have a book called The Second Wave, right? So
Yes.
what's that about?
The second wave book is really about the ascension process we're in right now. We're in the middle of the ascension. There's 3 waves. There's probably more, but the 3 waves that Dolores Cannon talked about in her
Yeah.
work.
Mm-hmm.
And the first wave being the one that happened right about the 60s. So people that were doing really big work in the 60s towards consciousness, like Martin Luther King, some of the various, Dolores Cannon herself, some of the various teachers that were charting the course of different spiritual paths, to open this up for people of Western consciousness, especially, I feel, at least that's the piece that I'm tuned into. And the second wave being people who came in to do deep healing and not even know they were a healer, like just like be in the middle of these healing situations, like in your family dynamics, and wondering what is going on with this situation here. Like, this is a bit intense. Like, you might have wondered, why do people not understand things the way I do, or what's going on in my family of origin, and how come people can't be kind out in the world? And these might be the questions, and I feel like those of us who felt that, we did everything we could to heal, to find pathways of bringing peace, and without even really having any consciousness, most of us, of knowing who we are in truth. And so that this book was really designed to elevate to consciousness level information that would resonate as truth inside of a being, of a person who's part of the second wave, to go, oh my gosh, that's me. I'm part of the second wave. That explains things. So that's really why that book was published July 2019, because of course we were getting ready to head into 2020, and that was really there to prepare people, and then also as people were waking up, to provide some comfort. Like, you're not crazy. This actually is happening. This is part of the plan, you know? And we all agreed to it before we came in.
Yeah, whether you want to actually believe it or take responsibility for it is another thing. I understand that. So I think, yeah, no, I absolutely resonate. 2019, I knew there was something, and I just, you could, it was, the energy was palpable. You knew, and when I reach out with other healers and coaches and authors, we have the same inkling. We all had an inkling. Some had a little bit more, but we knew there was something going on, and we're like, okay, we're ready. We're here. And how may we serve? I mean, that's really the biggest thing. And I follow Lori Ladd, and I love some of her insights. And she basically talks about sovereignty and truth and collective. Like, we're the spiritual warriors. We're in the arena, and we're sidestepping the shadow. I thought that was really interesting what she said there. So.
What does she mean by we're sidestepping the shadow?
She's talking about not being pulled into narratives or one thought thinking and separation. That's really what she's talking about. I thought that was really interesting. I never, that was a new perspective and something that I, appreciated. So healing the mother wound. How, you talk about making peace in relationships with oneness and earth and collective consciousness. I guess if somebody's listening to this and they're like, what are you talking about? I'm curious, like, what would be the next step for someone?
Yeah, so there's so much to do with the mother wound that it's far reaching and it has many aspects of its expression. And so ultimately, the easiest way for me to explain it is to say that when a baby's inside their mother, they're gestating, and they're sort of saturating inside the mother's consciousness. The mother's consciousness is their first taste of, like, what is life going to be like? And that's not a problem. That's actually a design. That's exactly the design that is out there to help our souls incarnate and then come into a life curriculum plan that will inevitably lead us towards the curriculum we came in to learn, right? So it's not a problem. However, now we're at this turning of the ages. So we have this opportunity to look back and say, wow, look at all the lessons that we learned up until now about war and separation. And how did all of that get started? Well, of course, with the mothers. So
Mm,
by teaching the mother that she's shameful and unworthy and, disempowered and she should be quiet, all the paradigms, we produce a lot of babies that have those same paradigms, and then that just promotes itself through the ages. So we're at this turning point where we're looking back and seeing all that's been created from that paradigm of disempowering and shaming the mother, to go, I wonder what would happen now if we as women cleared our bodies, cleared our minds, restored our self-honor, our self-respect, our dignity, claimed our voices, stood our ground, spoke our truth, and learned how to listen to ourselves first and then to others and hold space. If we do that now, we come back to what I feel is right relationship, which is human beings standing in each in their own power and listening to each other. So it's not about forcing conformity, like unity through conformity. It's about sovereignty and knowing yourself so well and feeling so secure and safe in that you can hold space for anything happening for anyone else and be listening and compassionate. And then we have those opportunities to still learn. It's just a different game. We're learning about peace and sovereignty and unity and how we create all that in a new way.
yeah, absolutely. And collaborating, not competing. Co-cre-
Collaborating, not competing.
yeah, yeah, and co-creation. It really, that is the law of attraction. You talk about the secret. No, I don't know. That just popped into my head because I see that a lot. Maybe you want to speak about that as well.
It's
Um,
another big pattern, right? I mean, like, how do we
mm,
work together as women? Because it's like we are needing to clear within ourselves, each person actually, because it's not the mother wound isn't just women, it's everybody, because everybody's been a baby and been born from a mother, right? So either way, we're all
Yes.
facing the same paradigms. And for women, though, there are particular challenges that have been bred over the generations, but we're now untangling, unweaving, and unwinding in order to create this new paradigm together of co-creation. We have to we get to look at like where does competition live in me? Where does competing with other women for my own success live within me? Where does it live within me jealousy? Where does it live within me scarcity mindsets? Where does it live within me that I think that what anybody else is doing is going to affect my personal power or sovereignty or money or anything? So we have these opportunities to lift each other up. And I actually just posted about this earlier because I had this strange experience with a lot of mentors, not my current one, but a lot of mentors I've had in the past that are women who it's like they'll support you as long as you're in the community, but then there's a glass ceiling. And
Hmm.
you can't, the moment you start reaching above that ceiling, it's like it's not really space to lift you higher than the mentor is able to do, right? There's not that sense of like you can be bigger than me or more powerful than me. And my question is why? Don't we want as mentors our students, just like as a mom, I want my kids to surpass me?
To fly away, little birdie.
Yeah, to like succeed. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not the end of the relationship. That's just a different phase of the relationship. And relationships can go in and out of phases. Like in one phase, maybe I'm a mentor, and the next phase, maybe I'm a peer, and the next phase, maybe I'm your student. And when we can get that fluid with it, where that's to me, that's the ultimate humility. It's like being able to move around and knowing that we're all each other's teachers and students. Like we're all in this together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a powerful reminder. Yeah, it's when you feel, like you said, jealous or threatened, or maybe there's a codependency, or you have to have this group affiliation in order to feel fulfilled. Yeah, that's an amazing, yeah. And that's why I talked about, going on to the next mentor or the next thing to learn, the next thing to absorb. And then when you do learn something, you need time to integrate it. I know when I first started, I was grabbing everything, and yeah, I could,
It was a buffet of spirituality.
it was. And then I was like, oh, no, oh, I'm good. Oh, gosh, okay, that was interesting. So, but it's all about the evolution, right? And the only way to evolve is like shedding a snake's skin. Interesting, I'm bringing snakes in here, but
No, but
very,
it's appropriate considering
mm,
that to me, like serpent energy is like Mother Earth.
yes,
It's that Mother Earth Kundalini energy that goes up through our bodies. And that is a necessary part of the awakening inside of our physical bodies is that Kundalini rising.
yes.
So it's like perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. It is perfect. I love animals. I love totems, all that stuff. So, anybody have any questions for Kerri? Please do drop them in the comments below. And also, I wanted to ask you, you have a retreat in Peru, I had seen, and I thought, wow, I've always wanted to go to Machu Picchu. So, did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Hmm.
I love Peru. It's a sacred place to me. It's in my heart. And I think probably from past lives, and then this current journey of just going there and meeting the people, which I feel they're like so open-hearted, so warm, so loving. And it's the land is filled with energy. And I believe it's because of thousands and thousands of years of prayer on the land, on Mother Earth there. It feels kind of like it must be the Ark, like, Noah's Ark, like it must be Peru, I mean, because it's just so powerful. And when I go there, I really feel the magnetism and the pull of all that prayer work. And it makes it easier for me to lift myself to higher frequencies when I'm surrounded by an environment that's cherished so much, like Peru is,
Mm.
and the Sacred Valley in particular, and definitely any of the monuments. So when I take groups there, we're really going to do a massive elevation of our frequency in 1 week, which is super intense and really powerful. And then, of course, the work afterwards is integrating all of that back into your life as you head home back to a place where the land is less honored than a place like Peru, where, not as much focus and intention for as long has been placed into the land.
Mm.
So, it's a powerful experience to have, and then the work on the way home is to be that change, like be that honoring, be that devoted back in your home space to create a similar vibration in your own space. And that's really where the muscle comes in, because of course they've been doing this for generations out there. So I love to bring people there, work with the shamans, do energy healing work, go on locations, get initiations, go to sites where people have been worshiping for a really long time, and just, get that in your body, get that in your cells, and then come home and integrate all that.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I had a look. I was just like, yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. It reminds me a little bit of Greg Braden and Alberto Volodo. I know that they do a lot of work there as well, with the shamans and with Mother Earth. And speaking of Mother Earth, where I am, on Vancouver Island, Fairy Creek has been in the news quite a bit. Well,
Mm.
they had a great win yesterday. The Supreme Court put an injunction in, meaning they're not allowed to cut any more old growth right now. So
What a
I was like,
relief.
yeah, and I've been there twice, and it is so sacred. And then I watched something about Haida Gwaii, which is another island, very sacred, very, their traditions go back thousands of years. So I just want to recognize and honor all of that as well, and the work that you do.
And I want to say Alberto Vialdo was one of my teachers. He was one of my first teachers.
Oh,
So
wow.
I
Okay.
studied with him at the Four Winds Light Body School, and I went to Peru a couple times with him and the
Hmm.
shamans. And so it's kind of fun because now I've been integrating the medicine enough that I've been the invitation to initiate students of my own into the Mesa path, which to me is a huge honor because I know how much it changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so powerful to be part of that lineage. And the Caro people in particular are extremely heart centered. They're rainbow people. I love the rainbow that you have going on in the back here. They are rainbow people. They're just so heart open. I remember being on retreat with Alberto, with the Caro, and they were saying, please take this medicine, make it your own, and bring it home, because the people in the West, we need you to love the
Mm.
earth. The earth needs your love. And we all need you to wake up to the power of the earth so that we can survive, basically. So you are a Mesa carrier, go make other Mesa carriers. That
Yeah.
was their request.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. And that's exactly it. I mean, you go to those sites, you feel that you take it all in, you integrate it, and then you bring it home like you said, and try and share it because those spaces need it very much so. I know when I go into certain cities or wherever I am, I can just, yeah, it's like so charged. And I'm like, wow, okay, what's going on here? So,
There's different energies, different places, and it has
mm,
to do with the consciousness. And the land, a lot of people think that land is just a carpet or just like a floor, and it's not. It's a living organism. We're part of it. And our consciousness with it determines how it unfolds and unlocks for us and for anything else that's living. So, as human beings, I feel like we have such a responsibility to be conscious and loving and attentive to our environment and all the beings that live in our environment, so that we're creating a space that life can thrive. And this is one of our lessons on the planet at this time, is some of the serious consequences we're seeing from not being in that relationship, not being in that devotion to the earth and to our bodies, which are a piece of earth. Our bodies are made of earth. Our mother, our teacher, planet Earth, she's never left us. She gave us a body. She's with us all the time. She holds our spirit constantly. And it's us to listen to what our body, what our mother is telling us, so that we can be in greater harmony and greater relationship with all the life around us and in us, to be in more harmony and peace. And it's all this busyness and rushing around and distraction and letting the mind lead the day and this kind of lower vibrational human existence that's causing the planet to struggle right now. It's less about the plastic and more about the consciousness. I mean, the plastic's a problem, but you can solve that problem and we still have a big problem, until we work it out, which is our consciousness level and how attentive and devotional we're being with all of life around us and in our bodies.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I'm glad you answered that question because I was like, well, how do we get there? And you just answered it. So, yeah, and it is. It's so many things, but it's our. I mean, I talk about ego all the time, and healing and unconditional love, and really your direct connect to God, whatever that is. Right? So it's really connecting back to yourself, to source. So when you're saying healing the mother wound and connecting back to earth, to the mother, how does someone do that if they've never heard this before?
Yeah, it's so powerful. Get in your body, get in earth. And how do you do that? So I used to have a very busy brain, like a lot of people have now. I was always on a deadline. I was always rushing. I used to sit at the stoplight and count until it would change colors because I would keep my sanity while I was waiting for the light to change because I would go insane if it took too long. So how I was being. And what really started to wake me up and help me was the drum. There's something about a drum, like a handheld drum where you just drumming it, or even a rattle, that's very soothing because it's making noise that
Mm-hmm.
is like taking you into a trance. And then that trance is lifting you out of your beta brain and opening you up to the higher frequencies of alpha and theta. And if you could do that while sitting on the earth, that helps you relax your nervous system so that you can get out of like this sort of hard edge reality thinking space
Yes.
and into the flow space. That's the love space. It's happening all around the hard edge reality thing, and then it kind of does to disappear a little bit, and then the soul can speak to you some messages, some visions, some comfort, some guidance, some soothing that helps to relax the animal that you are in your body and helps to activate that frontal cortex in your third eye, your pineal gland, and your frontal cortex, which is connected with your visual cortex, which is the language of the soul, comes through that brain. So I think understanding about the different brains is helpful. And then using these ancient tools that every culture has ever had about the drum and the rattle to help bring you into a trance. You can self trance to get out of that chattering mind space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's fantastic. Music is transcendence. Nature is as well. Connecting back to the ground, however you're connecting to. And it's interesting you mentioned drum because I just hold on. I brought a drum.
Did you bring a drum?
Oh yeah, it's actually my son's. I
Oh,
have
yeah.
I have a healing bowl, like a Buddha bowl, but I've seen this and I'm like, I'm bringing this in. So when we're talking about drums, and I know Alberto likes to do this with his meditations. So yeah, it is about ritual. It is about going back to, how our ancestors used to, around the fire and music and connecting back to the earth instead of, well, we are online instead of being online all the time and stuck in the four walls, right?
Yeah, it's really getting back to nature. And that's a big part of it is, this is a wonderful tool. We're getting to have a conversation. We're getting to have it where people can receive it no matter where they are in the world. And at the same time, at some point, we have to turn off the electronics and we have to go put our feet in the dirt, our hands in the water, and be present with our physical nature. That physicality, a lot of people think of spirituality as like getting out of the
Yeah.
physical and
Mm.
transcending it.
Yeah.
And it, yes, and that's a phase, But what I've learned is that then from this higher frequencies that we can learn to access on our journey of transcending this human drama is to bring all that light back in to the physical being. And then it's the divine kiss. It's like the masculine spirit meeting the feminine earth and having that divine kiss inside the body. And then that is a huge illumination and awakening. And that's what Alberto talks about, the luminous human.
Yes.
The luminous human is what we are becoming as we bring the light into the vessel with love, acceptance, embrace of all that is human inside of us that up until now we might have judged and thought was wrong. Now we come back and we really embrace that. And one of the main hooks that keeps people from embracing it is the programming around mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of deep religious programming around mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
And how dire they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's an archetype. I was listening to Carolyn Miss talking about shame in the family, and it usually turns out as perfection. And I'm like, oh, yes, I know that one very well, or I used to. I don't resonate with perfection anymore. And we talked about when I was on your show, fail forward.
Fail forward. Yeah, there's that energy. It's like we're here to learn. I had this ceremony a couple weeks ago. I like to do ceremony just to go deep into trance so that I can reveal more of my subconscious to myself about what's actually happening within me so I can be more aware of my shadows. That's kind of one of the methods I use. And in this ceremony, what was coming forth really strong through my being after a little while was, and it was even like a cheerleader energy, like yeah, like victory, hands in the air, like mistakes are awesome, just like this, like claiming of this, like yes, I'm making mistakes, and like mistakes are awesome because we learn from them. Like first of all, you knew it was a mistake, great, there's awareness, right? So let's celebrate awareness, and then you realized you could change something. That's the second great awareness. And then the action to change is the huge celebration. So it's like this evolution. That's how we evolve. When we're so like deer in the headlights about mistakes, we're actually like standing in the way of all the learning. And then things stall out and they get stuck and dense and suffering and serious and repressed and it's like constricted. And so we want to open it up. We've got to change that first agreement about mistakes and be like, mistakes are awesome, actually. Like, embrace mistakes.
Yeah, I think I make mistakes daily. I don't really care.
Every single day.
And yeah, all you got to do is laugh. I mean, but it takes a lot of practice, just like anything else.
There's a lot of conditioning around it. It takes some attention to unwind that.
Absolutely. So guys, let me know, I guess, on the replay right now if you've ever made any mistakes.
Mistakes, anybody?
Yeah. Let us know what they are. And
are we the only ones?
Yeah, really, we can't be. I'm sure. I mean, I think of Nikola Tesla. He's coming into my thoughts as well. And imagine him, all the things that he, tripped and fell and got back up and then boom, this idea and ideas, that's how it happens.
Exactly. I like Einstein. I mean, he said, he had to fail like 99 times before the 100th he'd finally get it, Are you that committed? I've decided, well, I am that committed. And it's uncomfortable making mistakes. It's definitely uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable experience to, aim for something from your heart and do your best, and then it just doesn't, like the plane that doesn't quite take off, like this, it's like, okay, well, there is something but it's like maybe that goal is the thing that lifts you to reach higher within yourself, to learn about yourself, to discover. And maybe what we're discovering is even, that we don't have to work so hard at it. I mean, there's a lot of lessons built in that I learn whenever I set goals.
Very true. Very true. And goals can change too. I think many times we get attached. There's always a reason why something's not working, God's rejection, as I say, is projection or protection, protection. You can maybe shuffle it off, for another couple months or something, or around the corner. It's not like, oh no, if I don't achieve this goal, then, everything's just going to fall apart. It's not true. It's your perception.
Yeah, there's that, and that acceptance of what is,
Hmm.
in the moment. And, also being your best advocate. Like for me, I'm learning how to be my best advocate. Like I'm reaching for big things. I think we all are right now because of the state of the planet we mentioned and talking about like, well, gosh, are we just going to sit back and let all that happen? Or are we going to do something about it? Are we going to reach within ourselves and find the courage to change something that big that, we have a good outcome on this planet? It's still possible. And are we that bold and courageous to reach for that? And for myself, it's like, am I that courageous to reach to invite a bunch of other mamas to do that with me? And that's the inquiry I've been in. And it's bringing me to a lot of awareness about myself and the places that I doubt myself, the places that I feel like, gosh, can I really do this? Is this really something I can do? Um, is anybody listening? Like, does anybody care about it as much as I do? Like those feelings, I'm sure we all had those feelings at some point. Like, where do I belong and who belongs with me and who's going to stand by my side and who's going to, take up the charge with me? And, those
Mm.
are, I feel like, how do we create unity out of all this division? How do we create peace out of all this war? How do we create love out of all this hate? And I,
Mm.
I feel like those are all things on my heart, and I want to have solutions for those things, and I am in the process of working on it for myself and inviting more people to the conversation. So it's a big tall order that we're facing in humanity right now.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you're, resonating with a lot of people. They're probably nodding their head. I know I am. So I think of, Lee Harris as well. I listen to a lot of things, and he talked about, are you waiting to be seen? Why are you waiting? If you're asking those questions, that means you're actually self-sabotaging. So just go for it. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Just go for it. What are you waiting for? Lynn is just saying hello. She's made plenty
Hi,
of
Lynn.
mistakes daily, heck, even hourly. Okay.
Hourly, yes. It's a minute
Thanks,
by
Lynn.
minute.
Yeah, Lynn's got a great sense of humor. She is always up to chat. I mean, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. So, I wanted to talk about your giveaway as well before I forget. You are giving away a copy of your book,
Yeah,
Love is Fierce.
here it is. Love is
Yay!
Fierce, Healing the Mother Wounds. I'll even sign it and I'll mail it to
Ooh,
you. And it's
beautiful.
nice and meaty. There's like lots of healing and activation in this book to heal your relationship with your mom and your relationship as a mom.
Hmm. That's beautiful. So comment Hummingbird to enter, everyone. Even if you're on the replay, if you're listening on podcast, just send me a message. Hummingbird, you're entered, and then we'll make the draw next week. So good luck to everyone. And I always ask two questions at the end here to my guests. These are, magic type questions. So, how can we as a collective energy help make your dreams come true? And I need a wand and a little sparkles.
Okay. So if I had a wand and wizard robes, what is my greatest desire? Oh, my greatest desire. This is bringing tears to my eyes. My greatest desire is a generation, 7 generations from now, that our kids have crystal clear oceans, dolphins jumping out of them, out of those waves, and peaches that are juicy and ripe and organic and clean and good and healthy to pick from the tree, that we appreciate each other, that we love each other, that we can learn to appreciate the differences and even celebrate the differences, that, hey, we all get a unique thumbprint. That's a really cool thing. And we see life differently, and that makes it cool because we can all share and compare notes and find out like what the whole kaleidoscope looks like by getting to know each other. And I just think that it would be great if we all chose to play the game of love and caring about each other and listening to each other. I would really like to play that game because I like that better. in what we've been doing.
Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you. And we honor and we see, and I'm sending you lots of love. And that's my wish as well. I mean, and I'm pretty sure that, people that are listening and watching the same. Absolutely. And when you said, fingerprint, the tree as well, when you look at the tree, very similar.
Yeah, it's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I had seen a picture. It was side by side image, and I'm like, whoa,
Wow.
mind blown. I love that. I love that. Oh, virtual tissue for you.
Thank you. I'll have to grab one if I have some right here. I always keep it handy in
Sure.
my desk because my heart opens and then tears pour out. So
And we need more of that too. And less suppressing and more just let it go, baby. Let it flow.
I'm healing that wound of humanity and repression. So it's part of my
Yes.
job here is to heal that repression wound and just let it fly. So
Love it, love it. And what does magic mean to you? I know you answered that already in the podcast form, but maybe
yeah,
it's changed. I
it
don't
might have
know.
changed. I don't like to read anything verbatim. What's in my heart today? Because I change
Yeah.
every day. So to me, magic is living your life from your heart, letting your heart lead the way and light that vision up inside of you that you just like so delighted to experience and living your life that way every day in sacred ceremony and devotion to this planet, devotion to God source creator, devotion to this whole life experience we're having, which is galactic too. So like just like that is magical to me to have that much love and awareness in every moment. And that's the way I really work myself every day. I play with myself and I lead it every day to live that way. And sometimes it's work. So let's be honest. But then I get those moments of delight. And to me, delight is magical,
Hmm. Yeah, it's like the child. The child, there's
the inner
no,
child.
yeah, any child, whether it's inner or, you have a child, they see, yeah, it's delight. I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Lynn, yes, we know. Lynn does a lot of markets in Manitoba, so they're done for the summer. So she's going to be more involved. I know you were off for the summer, but thank you so much. And she's in to win a copy of your
Hummingbird.
book. Yay! All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I know that you have quite a busy packed schedule and you're a mama as well and you've got a lot of obligations. So thank you so much for spending time with us. And did you want to share one last thing with us before we say goodbye?
I just want to express my sincere gratitude, Christine, for you and the work that you do as a messenger. And I know the behind the scenes on that job, and it's a lot. And I want to thank you for all the work that you do, seen and unseen, on behalf of the collective. Thank you so much for what you do.
Aw. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm sending you, lots of appreciation and love back with your podcast. The graphics, I didn't get to tell you yet, were beautiful. And you pulled some quotes from me, and I was reading them the other night, and I'm like, oh, I'm crying. I'm like, did
I was
I
like,
say
I said
that?
those
No.
things. That's me. I like to showcase people. I like to showcase your wisdom because I appreciate you doing it.
And it's quite the inspiration. So thank you. I'd love to share that back with you. So, all right, guys. And Lynn is saying thank you for sharing your
Thank you,
blessings.
Lynn.
We love you, Lynn. Sending you lots of love in Manitoba. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate and love you all. And please remember, healing begins where the ego ends. Take care.